Again, I thought I would do a quick update since I'm moving along fast. I haven't had much time to work on this, but I put everything back together with the spare pistons and rods I picked up. Picked up some more like 05 6-liter pistons and rods and swapped out my good ones, you know, with the bad ones here. And I already have everything back in, the motor in, tranny bolted up, started to put most of the front end together, and I was like, shit, I should bolt up my transmission, my torque converter bolts and everything else, and then jam the starter in and keep going. And right when I was doing that, I was putting in, I've put converter bolts in about 1,000,000 times, and I wasn't having any issues. And I went to do my final tighten on the last bolt, and it stripped out, basically. I've never done that before, but first time for everything, huh? And the big issue here is, it's not like a regular converter bolt. It's a billet face PTC, and if you've ever done that before, the bolt goes straight into the converter, and it has like just a boss, and it's tapped, and you just thread this guy in there, and that's it. And I've had 6-bolt and 3-bolt, and no issues ever. But you can see here, this one pulled all the goddamn threads right out of the converter. So, at that point, I kind of froze up for like an hour and was like, what the hell do I want to do? I don't really know what I want to do. So I quit since then because of Christmas coming up and everything else, and working on my house and a bunch of other projects. So this sat for a couple days here. I think I had it all together and the motor in like Tuesday or Wednesday. It's Friday, Christmas Day, but so this is where I stopped. So I think all I'm gonna do is figure out exactly how big this is, if it's metric thread or what, and I will just drill it and tap it slightly larger and put a larger bolt in, and maybe even prepare to do that with the other ones. But that's the update for now. Everything is in there. There's oil in it, the motor's in, all the bolts are in. It's almost there. I could have like started it and run it. I could even go and drive it. I reused the stock head gaskets and stock head bolts and everything again. Classic, that's pretty much what I always do. I don't really see an issue with that. And it'll be neat to see everything, you know, doing as well as it was before. I just won't turn it up until I get the fuel line sorted, and then I'll be very careful again to make sure I can flood it on a little bit lower boost. And other than that, everything else was going great. I mean, we put over 1,000 miles on the truck, like I was saying before, just pushing it with no fuel. And we'll see how everything goes. I'll be drilling and tapping that thing this weekend for sure. And then the other delay is, we had the coronet on the dyno, and just for fun, we might put that's a 4.8 liter with a forced inductions 7283 billet. And we might put my 7875 on it just to see how well it does up against that, because we have the trick flow stage 1 cam, the 216 220, and the coronet, and we're kind of thinking it's not that great for a 4.8 liter setup. As we've seen before, the ZR1 cam in a 4.8 works pretty good. It loses a little bit of bottom end power, which sucks because a 4.8 doesn't have a lot of bottom end power, almost none. And then it works well up top, but then when you put we put ZR1 cams in 5.3s, and it makes kind of mediocre power versus a appropriate turbo cam. So it'll be interesting to see if this makes shit numbers on the 4.8. Then we'll know that it's probably a cam issue, so we'll work on that too. But quick updates for the coronet and the truck. The truck will be making noise in a day or two, I'm sure. I just gotta get this fucking converter bolt in there. But what a buzzkill. I flew through this stuff. I had the motor out and apart in 4 hours. I had it back in 4 hours, and then totally taking the wind out of your sails by this converter. Normally a 4L80E converter has 6 bolts in the back. This one only has 3, so I'm making 700 ponies, and I got 3 of these tiny bolts, you know, maintaining that power somewhat through the converter. So that's a big issue. Running 2 of them and destroying the converter, possibly breaking the trans and stuff. I mean, that stuff I just can't ignore. A lot of stuff I'll just ship it, but nah, not with this. So I'm sure I can just drill and tap it and figure it out, because it sucks. I just put the motor in. I have to pull the motor out to really work on the converter, or pull the whole transmission setup out just to drill and tap the converter. So I'm hoping I can just kind of jam the drill up in there, drill it out, and get a little bit bigger tap and just throw it in there, because the boss is on an angle. Let me see if I can crawl under there and give you an idea what I'm fucking working with here. Since I don't have the converter out or anything, you can probably reference an older video. Oh yeah, this'll make some sense to you for sure. See how it's just a hub on the end of the converter here? I mean, you really can't drill straight through it. It goes into the face in like a funny direction. But this is the one that's stripped out. Last one, of course. The other ones are fine. So that's the issue right now. And other than that, everything else is going good. So I think I'll continue on with what I can, get it done, and then, you know, I'll be ready to drill and tap that shit, get to a hardware store, you know, Saturday or Sunday this weekend off of the holiday. But that's it.